Hey, what's up, guys? Jacob Brigger J2, you're the man with the plan, man with the mind and knowledge of the YWC. And this here is my top 10 interests in professional wrestling. Top 10 interests. When I think of an entrance, I think of glam, glitz, you know, the whole overall package, if you're believable. And that's how I constructed this list. If you're believable, the music, if you have any type of pyro, that's always a plus. You know, all that is key into a great entrance, and I think I have 10 great ones here. Let's go ahead and get started with the list. Number 10, I have the New Age Outlaws. Oh, you didn't know? Baz Billy Gunn, Road Dogg Jesse James, one of my favorite tag teams of all time growing up. And they were so charismatic, and this is during the Attitude Era as well, obviously. You know, they finally had a chance to talk on the mic. You know, this is when Vince McMahon says, we're not going to fool you anymore, you know, with this PG stuff that we're doing now. We're going to be a little bit more attitude. So he started laying guys like Billy Gunn, like Val Venus, like, you know, Sean Waltman, like, you know, Road Dogg, like other guys get a chance to talk on the microphone. Some got over, some didn't. And the New Age Outlaws got over with their entrance. You know, even when they were heels, the crowd will still chant, oh, you didn't know. That's how you know you have the crowd in the palm of your hand. And that's what the New Age Outlaws did, you know, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They come in at number 10 for me. Number 9 is Triple H. Number 9 is Triple H. When I think of Triple H's entrance, I think of, okay, this is a badass motherfucker coming out here. If you're just looking at him for the first time, it's like, okay, this guy means business. You know, he's playing his metal music. You know, he has, you know, he's all, you know, his hair's all wet, his body's all wet, he's coming out to the ring, he's all steroid out. And, you know, he comes to the ring, spits his water, you know, does all that stuff, you know, flexing or whatnot. Triple H, I mean, you know, even still today, you know, when you hear, time to play the game, you know, it's like, you know, some serious shit's about to go down, you know what I mean? You're like some of us now, we're getting tired of hearing it now because this whole storyline, the CEO thing right now with him and CM Punk and the match coming on at Vengeance this Sunday. But we're not talking about Vengeance right now, I'm talking about the entrance. The entrance itself is one of the best of all time. Even in 1999, you know, when he first turned heel, when he was coming out with China, when he was wearing the mesh vest, when he was coming out, and when he has previous entrance before, it's my time. When he had that entrance, I mean, he was doing the same entrance pretty much, but it was just different music. Triple H comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is the Road Warriors, also is known as the Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them, and this is really their WWF days I'm going to be talking about here now. I could go and focus on their NWA days, and well, AWA, I mean, they were there for a short time, but their NWA days when they used to come out to the ring in the leather pants, and they still had the spikes or whatever, but they used to come out to the ring in leather pants, running to the ring, you know, bum rushing people to the ring, you know, the Road Warriors, a Hawk, an Animal, you know, they were like, if you look at these guys, you know, back 10, 15 years ago, and, you know, rest in peace, Hawk. And, if you look at these guys 15 years ago, they still like legitimate badasses. And 15 years ago was 1996. They still like they could beat your ass in the fucking ring. Even though, you know, 15 years ago, you know, they were pretty much out of their prime already, but, you know, in their heyday in the 80s, wow. You know, every time they come to the ring, it's like, wow. And you figure that, you know, they will be heels most of their career because of their gimmick. They're faces most of their career. Don't get me wrong, they were heels back in NWA. But, you know, most of their career they were faces, and they get the Road Warrior pop. If you don't know what Road Warrior pop is a huge, I mean, huge pop that the Road Warriors will get when they'll ever come down to the ring. And they'll use that nowadays, you know, to refer to a certain pop in wrestling. I haven't heard a real probably a Road Warrior pop that I heard this year was CM Punk at Money in the Bank when he came out. You know, when the crowd started cheering for CM Punk, that's a Road Warrior pop when his music hit. Like, everybody was like, yeah! That was their NWA days, their WWF days. Oh, Rudder Rush! Damn! One of the best themes of all time. Man, I just remember SummerSlam 1992. They came down with those motorcycles, the Road Warriors and Paul Ellering. Great stuff. They look so badass in the ring, Road Warrior, just doing that. I mean, just good stuff. Back in the day from the Road Warriors or the Legion, do whatever you want to call them, one of the greatest entrances of all time, number 8. Coming in at number 7 is Ravishing Rick Rude. Yes, Rick Rude comes at number 7. If you've been on my channel, he is on there like this, except for he has muscles and his hair is all laid out, But anyway, Rick Rude has one of the best entrances of all time. Every time he comes down to the ring, and then, of course, this is WWF. Hell, even his WCW days, too. WCW or WWF, because both his music and WWF was good. I think his WCW music was probably a little bit better because it had words to it. And comes down to the ring, he'll have Bobby the Brain Hymn behind him, and let's say he's in Mississippi, and he's all like, "Cut the music! This all goes out to you, Mississippi sweat hogs. Quiet the noise down while I take my robe off. And when I show why Ravishing Rick Rude is the sexiest man alive," hit the music. Takes his robe off. Wherever tights he's wearing, wherever it be Jake the Snake Roberts' wife, or whoever he's feuding against, like he has the Warrior on his tights, or he'll just say Ravishing down, or he has the Intercontinental Championship belt pay on his tights. Wherever tights it was, swings his hips, swings his hips, swings his hips, flexes like that. Great entrance. Great entrance. Coming at number 7, Ravishing Rick Rude. Coming at number 6 is the Nature Boy. Woo! Not Buddy Rogers, but Ric Flair. Ric Flair comes at number 6. And it's no secret, Ric Flair is my favorite wrestler of all time. I think he deserves to be on this countdown. Not just because he's my favorite wrestler, because of his interests as well. I mean, I'm not just referring to the whole music. And the music and the robe is a big part of it. But when you have the cockiness of a Ric Flair, when you think you're the be-all, end-all of Ric Flair, not just that, in the NWA days, Jim Crockett Promotions, when he was basically carrying that company on his back in the mid-'80s, he used to bring women down to the ring with him. He used to, hell, even sometimes when he comes down to the ring in his suit, comes down to the ring in his suit, showing him getting out the limo, showing him, having a vignette, living the lifestyle, he'll come down to the ring, probably cut a promo for about 2 minutes. His jobber opponent will come out, or his jobber opponent will be in the ring already, beats him in 2 minutes, goes back, has a bottle of champagne, drinks it, goes to the locker room. Ric Flair. And yeah, I know nowadays Ric Flair, he is getting a little bit irrelevant in wrestling, but, he still trying to carry himself as, one of the greatest of all time. And Ric Flair is the greatest of all time when, by the way how he carries his character. And you really do believe Ric Flair is that person in real life, just glam and glitz and blah, 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 blah. Ric Flair comes at I believe that was number 7 for me. So, come at number 6. I'm sorry, number 6. We have Ric Flair, had Rick Rude. Come at number 5 is the Fabulous Freebirds. Alright, if you don't know who the Fabulous Freebirds is Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. Okay, one of the original factions. Now, the reason why I do have these guys on the list, because they were the innovators of the wrestling theme. Without the Fabulous Freebirds, we wouldn't have great wrestling themes like Randy Orton's theme, or John Cena's theme, or Dolph Ziggler's theme, or, we wouldn't have these great themes that we have today, without the Fabulous Freebirds. And, that's plain and simple. They were based out of Dallas, World Class Championship Wrestling. They've been around. They've been in WWF for a little bit. They were there for a little bit. Then they, Jim Crockett Promotions, they were everywhere. Okay? They used to have feuds against the classic, if you don't know anything about this, Google it. Just type in the Fabulous Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. Hell, it'll probably come up, if you type in the Fabulous Freebirds versus the Von Erichs, will be the first thing on that list, I'm pretty sure, on YouTube. If not, you will see on the list. They're legendary feuds with them. They used to have feuds with the Four Horsemen, and, back in the NWA days. Every time when they come down to the ring, Michael Hayes, dancing, hair all flowing, he used to wear his robes, and, they were, I mean, I will say this. I mean, they were glam and glitz and, you know, before, I won't say, not before Ric Flair because they were in the same time, but, you know, they were glam and glitz in some of these other guys that are coming out today, you know, with their elaborate entrances, you know, like The Undertaker, you know, like what Goldberg had, you know, like what Triple H had, what Shawn Michaels had, what, you know, AJ Styles has, and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. You know, the Fabulous Freebirds was before all of that. And they were the first ones with entrance music based out of Dallas. You know what I mean? They were the first ones, and Ric Flair even vouched for them and say they were the first ones with music. So, Fabulous Freebirds comes at number 5. Coming at number 4 is Taz. Taz from ECW. Taz, when he was champion, when he was the FTW champion, and when he was, you know, the Extreme Championship Wrestling champion, when he won it at Guilty as Charged in 1999, okay, he was a champion for almost a, he was a champion for almost a year before he lost to Mike Awesome, before Taz decided to go to WWF, and that's a whole nother story. Yeah, Taz's entrance. When he comes out, he used to have the towel over his head, walking to the ring. You know, you can see that he's short or whatnot, but it's like when I first saw ECW, and like I saw all these matches. You know, I saw all these matches and all the blood and whatever, all these hardcore matches, the table spot, and I can't remember the main event that it was, but it had Taz in it. And when I saw Taz come out, I was like, holy shit, who is this? You know what I mean? You believe that Taz was really a badass, and the stuff that he did in the ring as well, the suplexes and whatnot, God, it just made his entrance even more special, and his music as well, as "Survive If I Let You." Na 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 na. Taz, you know, from all the way from 1998, even his WWF entrance was pretty good. It obviously wasn't iconic as his entrance from before, but you know, it was, his entrances is so good in my opinion. And how even when he came back, well, he was already there in WWE, but when he came back as the real Taz at ECW One Night Stand, big pop for that. Taz does come in at number 4 for me. Coming at number 3. This might be a little bit of a shocker. I truly believe that this guy has one of the best entrances ever in professional wrestling. And he's only been in WWE for a little bit over a year now on TV. Alberto Del Rio. Yes, I said Alberto Del Rio. Okay? Reasons why. First of all, he has a Spanish announcer that announces him to the ring every time. Whoever had that before? Nobody had a special announcer ever in the history of wrestling to announce him. Second of all, he's rich. Well, we already had that before with the $1 Million Man. He mixed the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase with a little bit of JBL with a little bit of Eddie Guerrero. Mix those three together. And plus, he has the shower of fireworks. The music is fucking fabulous. I mean, if you don't like Alberto Rio's music, I mean, there's something wrong with you. I mean, come on, man. It's like, you can tell by that, if you listen to that music very closely, you can just hear how rich he is. And I know that sounds kind of weird to hear how rich he is, but if you listen to the music, it was like, okay, this must be a rich guy. You know, if I was blind, and if I didn't know nothing about wrestling, I would suspect that Alberto Rio was rich. I mean, that's just my opinion, at least. Comes down to the ring, different car every week, even though we know it's not his real cars, but you know, if I was like 6, 7 years old, you believe that he's that rich, you know what I mean? You believe he's that cocky in real life. You believe that, you know, he's that arrogant, you know? Alberto Rio comes in number 3. Coming in number 2 is Goldberg. WCW days and WWE, because it was basically the same entrance, except for it was different music. First week Goldberg debuted in WCW. First of all, we debuted, he was considered as a jobber. He was named Bill Goldberg. Then eventually he got his own music, came out to the ring. Eventually he got his fireworks, came out to the ring, just regular fireworks. Eventually he had people backstage with him, United States champion. He's being led to the ring by police, like, oh man, this is a bad dude, this is a bad dude. Coming down to the ring, sort through fire, comes down to the ring. WCW champion did the same thing, led by security, by groups of security. I mean, at one time, I think, at one time, probably had like, 16 guys on the side of him coming down to the ring. You believe Goldberg was a legitimate badass. Even though I heard that he wasn't, in real life, that he wasn't really a badass, but I bet you can still hold his own in the fight. I bet you there are some people who won't step up to certain people because on their character, like Goldberg, like The Undertaker, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like Kane, those guys. Even though probably in real life we don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that they can or cannot fight in real life, but you respect that, and that's what Goldberg did was interesting. He comes down to the ring, beats up somebody in 2 minutes, goes to the back, undefeated streak. You know what I mean? And then I'm talking about his WCW days. WWE days, when he first came out, Shawn backstage came down, Spear of the Rock, your ass is next. Spear of the Rock did the same thing, with his entrances, brought like 8 to 10 cops on the side of him did the same exact thing, beat somebody up in 3 minutes, go to the back. Man, you can't do stuff like that again. Once something capturing the ball like that, you can't just do that again. You know what I mean? And Goldberg, I don't think there'll be another Goldberg as far as how they executed that storyline from WCW back in 97, 98. And coming in at number 1 on my list on the top 10 entrances of all time is, y'all probably suspected it, The Undertaker. I mean, if you look at The Undertaker's career, he's been around since 1990. 1990. He's been around for 21 years. It will be 21 years at this year's Survivor Series. It will be 21 years at this year's Survivor Series. He's been around as long as I've been living. The Undertaker's been around for most of you kids watching this video right now. And how relevant he is. On his entrance, he comes down, first of all, his first entrance when he came down with Brother Love, Survivor Series 1990, came down to the ring, beat up some guys, gave a couple guys tombstones, left. Eventually got Paul Bear. Eventually he turned face. Eventually he broke his face, wore that mask. Eventually he became the Phenom. When he's coming to the ring, doing that, the lights would come on and it sounds like an explosion. I remember, good example, Hell in a Cell 1997, Bad Blood, him and Shawn Michaels used to stand in the ring. When he used to have the scar on his face. When he was the Ministry Undertaker. Oh my God, the greatest gimmick of all time right there. The Ministry Undertaker. He's doing the same thing, but since he evolved his character over the years, badass gimmick. I know that's totally a whole different interest, but still kept himself relevant through that time, all the way up until today. Undertaker, he's legendary, one of the greatest of all time. Man, you really believe that? I mean, there's still some people ask me today, is Undertaker really dead? Is the Undertaker really dead? I get that question, I know, but they truly believe in his gimmick. Is he really from Death Valley? Does he really wake up out of a coffin every night? People really do believe that gimmick, and you can take the entrance for that, and he has the same entrance music for about 21 years, if you're not including the badass gimmick that was around for about 3 or 4 years. The badass gimmick was, but yeah, Undertaker does come in at number 1. All right, guys, please rate, please subscribe, please drop a comment. Guru Wrestling Talk is this Saturday. Vengeance predictions will be coming up for that show. Link will be down in the description box for that. This is going to be on the Guru's Greatest channel, so go subscribe to my channel. The link will be down in the description box for that as well. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Again, please rate, please subscribe, please drop a comment, and I'll check you guys later.
I like to drive with the top down, rolling like thunder, always drawing